I am 63 years old, and I won the war against alcohol. 30 years I fought it. 30 years of shaking hands and broken promises and waking up in places I didn't recognize. And I beat it. I finally beat it. And nobody cared. I'm sitting here in my kitchen right now. One bulb overhead, the kind that hums if you listen close enough. And I always listen close enough now because there's nothing else to listen to. The coffee on the counter went cold 2 hours ago. I haven't moved to reheat it. The clock on the wall ticks so loud in this apartment it sounds like someone tapping on a coffin lid, reminding you time is still passing whether you're living or not. I opened my junk drawer tonight. I don't know why. Maybe I was looking for a pen. Maybe I was looking for something else, something I can't name. And there it was, sitting right on top of a pile of things I've been avoiding for years. My sobriety chip, still sealed in its little plastic pouch, never been opened, never been held in my bare hand, never been shown to anyone who wanted to see it. The plastic caught the light from that single bulb, and I swear it looked like it was grinning at me. I picked it up, turned it over, felt the weight of it, which is almost nothing. Almost nothing. That's about right. Underneath it there were birthday cards, but I'll get to those. I need you to understand something before we go any further. This is not an inspiration story. This is not a story about a man who hit rock bottom and climbed his way back into the sunlight. This is a haunting. I am the ghost, and the house I haunt is my own life. And I'm telling you this because right now, tonight, wherever you are, you still have time to make sure this story doesn't become yours. So sit down and listen to an old fool who learned the most important lesson in the world about 30 years too late. When I was in my early 30s, I was the man everyone wanted at the party. You understand what I mean? I was loud. I was funny. I walked into a bar and people knew my name, and I thought that meant something. I thought it meant I was alive. I'd buy rounds for strangers, tell jokes that made the whole room shake with laughter, and I'd feel this warmth in my chest that I mistook for happiness. It was just bourbon. But I didn't know the difference back then. I told myself the same lie every drunk tells himself. I can stop whenever I want. I'm not like those people. You know the ones I mean. The ones shaking on park benches. The ones with brown bags. I wore a tie to work. I paid my mortgage. I coached Little League one season, showed up to maybe half the games, but I signed up, didn't I? That counts. That's what I told myself. That counts. I believed that providing a paycheck was the same thing as being a father. I believed that being in the house was the same thing as being present. I'd come home, crack open a beer before my coat was even off, and plant myself in front of the television. My wife would say something about the kids, about a school event, about how she felt like she was raising them alone. And I'd hear it the way you hear traffic noise when you live near a highway. Background, ignorable. I called it nagging. I called her dramatic. I called my son's sad little eyes just a phase. You want to know what I was really doing all those years? I was performing a vanishing act. Slow, so slow nobody noticed at first. Not even me. Every drink erased me a little more, like rain on chalk. I was disappearing from my own family's life, and I was smiling while I did it, laughing even, buying another round. My hands shake now. I'm holding a glass of water right now, and it trembles like something frightened. This apartment is so quiet I can hear my own breathing echo off the walls. There's almost nothing in here. A couch, a table, the television I never turn on. It's sparse like a waiting room, and I suppose that's what it is. I'm just waiting now. But you need to hear about the night, the specific night, the one that sits in my chest like a piece of broken glass that I can feel every time I breathe. My son was graduating 8th grade, 14 years old. This was the last time he ever asked me to come to anything. I didn't know that then, of course. You never know it's the last time while it's happening. That's the cruelty of it. He came to me 3 weeks before, and his voice had that careful tone kids use when they've been hurt too many times to ask for something without bracing for the no. He said, "Dad, graduation is on the 14th. Will you come?" And I looked him in the eye, my boy, my son who had his mother's soft features and my stubborn chin. And I said, "I'll be there. I swear it. I swear on everything." I meant it. God help me, I meant it when I said it. The day came, the 14th. I remember it was warm outside. One of those late spring days where the air smells like cut grass and something sweet you can't identify. I was at work. I had my son's graduation circled on my desk calendar in red ink. Red ink, like it was the most important meeting of the year. And it was. It should have been. At 5 o'clock, a colleague stopped by my desk. He said, "Come on, just one drink. End of the week. You deserve it." One drink. Those 2 words have destroyed more lives than any war ever fought. One drink. And I said yes. I said yes because I always said yes. Because the pull wasn't even a pull anymore. It was gravity. You don't decide to fall when you step off a cliff. You just fall. 1 drink became 3. 3 became 5. The bar got loud around me and I sank into it like a warm bath. I remember laughing at something someone said. I remember the smell of peanuts and spilled beer on varnished wood. I remember the television above the bar playing a basketball game nobody was watching. I woke up on that bar stool at 10 o'clock at night. My neck was stiff. My mouth tasted like something had died inside it. And my phone was sitting on the bar top, its screen lit up with 7 missed calls. 7, all from my wife. I stared at that number and the room went very, very quiet in my head, even though the bar was still buzzing around me. I drove home. I shouldn't have, but I did, because that's what drunks do. We pile bad decisions on top of bad decisions like bricks, building a wall between ourselves and everyone who loves us. The house was dark when I pulled into the driveway, every light off. That kind of darkness that isn't just absence of light, but feels like a statement, like the house itself had turned its back on me. I went inside. The kitchen smelled like a meal that had been cooked hours ago and gone cold. I could smell roasted chicken and something with garlic. She'd made a special dinner for after the ceremony, for a celebration I was supposed to be part of. I walked down the hallway to my son's room. The carpet was soft under my feet, and I remember thinking how quiet my steps were, as if even my body knew I didn't belong there anymore. His door was closed, no light underneath it. I knocked. 2 soft knocks. Nothing. I knocked again. Still nothing. I opened the door slowly. The hinges didn't creak, and somehow the silence of those hinges was worse than if they'd screamed. My boy was lying on his bed, on top of the covers, not under them, still wearing his graduation clothes. His white button-down shirt was wrinkled now, the collar bent up on one side. His clip-on tie was loosened but still hanging around his neck. His shoes were still on, like he'd walked in, sat on the bed, laid back, and just stopped trying. On the nightstand there was the ceremony program. It was crumpled, like he'd been holding it tight in his fist and then just let go. I could see his name printed in the middle of a list of other names, kids whose fathers showed up. His eyes were open. He was staring at the ceiling, not crying. I need you to understand that. He was not crying. There were no tears on his face, no redness around his eyes. And that was so much worse than any crying I've ever heard, because crying means you still expect something. Crying means there's still a part of you that believes the disappointment isn't permanent. My son was not crying because he had stopped believing. I stood in that doorway, and the room smelled like his kid cologne, the cheap kind he'd started wearing that year because he wanted to seem older, and the faint smell of the starch his mother had ironed into his shirt that morning. I said his name, softly, like a question. He didn't look at me. He kept staring at that ceiling. And then he said, in a voice so calm it sounded rehearsed, so steady it sounded like something he'd been practicing for years, he said, "It's okay, Dad. I didn't really expect you to come." 9 words. 9 words that hit me harder than any fist, any car crash, any diagnosis a doctor ever gave me. 9 words that told me my son, at 14 years old, had already grieved the father he wished he had. He'd already buried me. I was still standing there breathing, but he'd already learned to live in a world where I didn't show up. And he was fine. He was fine. That's the part that breaks you. Not the anger, not the yelling, the fine. They learn to be fine without you. Your family becomes water, and you become a dead stone in the middle of the stream, and the water just flows around you like you were never there at all. I didn't quit that night. That's the part I'm most ashamed of. You'd think a moment like that would be enough. It wasn't. I drank for another 20 years after that night. 20 more years. That's how strong the grip was. That's how weak I was. That's how deep the lie goes when you've told it to yourself long enough. I finally got sober at 61, 2 years ago. 2 years of withdrawal that felt like my body was being turned inside out. 2 years of meetings in church basements that smelled like burnt coffee and desperation. 2 years of sitting on the edge of my bed at 3 a.m, gripping the mattress, jaw clenched, sweat pouring down my back, choosing not to drink for 1 more hour. Then 1 more. Then 1 more. And I made it. I earned that chip. I drove to my son's apartment the day I got it. He's 34 now, has a little girl of his own, beautiful kid. I'd seen pictures. I rehearsed my speech the whole drive over, 45 minutes on the highway, talking to myself like a madman, saying, "Son, I did it. I'm sober. I'm here now. I'm finally here." He opened the door, and he looked good, healthy, stable, everything I wasn't. I held out the chip in my palm like it was a diamond, like it was proof that I was worth something. He looked at it, looked at me, and he said, "I'm proud of you, Dad." And the way he said it, the tone, it was the same tone you'd use with a coworker who tells you they ran a 5K over the weekend. Polite, distant, a handshake, not a hug, no tears in his eyes, no trembling lip, no rushing forward to embrace the father who finally came back. Because he wasn't waiting for me to come back. He'd stopped waiting 20 years ago in that dark bedroom in his graduation clothes. I drove home, put the chip in the drawer, and that's when I saw them. The birthday cards, 5 of them, stacked underneath old batteries and rubber bands. Cards I'd never opened, written in a child's handwriting. The kind where the letters are all different sizes, and some of them are backwards. One of them said, on the envelope, in crayon, "Please come to my party, Daddy." I never opened them. Not then. Not now. I can't. I know what's inside them. And I know it'll be the thing that finally kills me when nothing else could. So here it sits, my sobriety chip, still sealed in its plastic pouch, right next to those cards, sealed in their envelopes, everything preserved, everything untouched, everything separated from warmth by a thin little barrier. That's me. That's my whole life in that drawer, sealed up, kept apart. The only sound in this apartment is the refrigerator humming, and the clock ticking, and my own regret, which is louder than both. Now I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Right now. Wherever you're watching this. Whatever you're holding in your hand. If it's a drink, put it down. Not tomorrow. Not Monday. not after the holidays. Now, right now. Set it down and don't pick it back up. You think the worst thing alcohol can do to you is destroy your liver, ruin your career, kill you on a highway some rainy night? No. The worst thing it can do, the absolute cruelest punishment it has, is this. It lets you live. It lets you live long enough to watch your family build a beautiful, complete, happy life without you in it. And they're better for it. They are better without you. Do you understand how that feels? To know that your absence is a gift to the people you love. Sobriety is not the finish line. I need you to hear that. Sobriety is the starting line. And if you wait too long to get there, if you keep telling yourself one more year, one more month, one more drink, you will arrive at that starting line and find the stadium empty. The race is over. Everyone's gone home. And you're just standing there, clean and sober, with no one left to run toward. Call your kid tonight. Show up tomorrow. Not next week. Tomorrow. Choose the discomfort of being present over the ease of disappearing. Because disappearing feels like nothing. And that's exactly what it costs you. Everything. It costs you everything. Don't earn a chip that no one's waiting to see. I'm going to close this drawer now. The chip and the cards will go back into the dark, and I'll sit here in my kitchen under this humming light, drinking cold coffee, listening to the clock. Don't end up here. You still have time. I didn't.